Okay, before this video starts, I just want to plug one thing, but it's a personal thing. I finally have an online print shop up and running. I'm using darkroom.com for the service. I've heard a lot of great things about it, so I'm just decided to give it a try. I'm starting the print shop with 10 photos that all have an airplane theme to them. So all of them have an airplane in the shot or are from an airplane. So there's some of my favorite photos with that theme. Like I said, there's 10 of them. The link for the print shop will be in the description. There will be a coupon code in the description. I won't say what it is here because that coupon code may change over time. If you watch this video a year from now, it may be different. But I invite all of you to visit my print shop, and hopefully some of you will find a photo you like and you'll order a print. Obviously, any print you order helps me, helps this channel, and and you get a cool photo and a cool print out of the deal. So I love this way of having this creative exchange and of giving this opportunity for someone to support the channel. I like this way the best because you get something from it, and it does help the channel in many ways. So I invite anyone who might be interested in a photo like this to go check that out, see if there's anything you like, and please order a print. And let me know if you do, that'd be great. Okay, so the title of this video is Leica versus Fujifilm because that is the subject of what I'm talking about, but I'm not doing a actual Leica versus Fujifilm comparison. This is more of me exploring this idea or this subject of this comparison. It seems like over the past year, I've seen a handful of these Leica versus Fujifilm comparison videos. A lot of times they're comparing one specific model of Leica to one specific model of Fujifilm cameras. I want to try to keep this video short because it really is just me kind of thinking out loud and also maybe getting some feedback from you guys, because I started this channel and I still run this channel with the thought process that I remember what it was like to be a high schooler, college student, or even someone who just doesn't have much expendable cash, much resources to spend money on gear. What it's like to get enough money just to buy something usable to capture photography with, to whether that's film photography or digital photography, that really doesn't matter. I feel like I was just in those situations just yesterday where I was in college and the only, back then it was film photography. The only camera I had was the one my dad gave us, my Olympus OM10, and anything beyond that was just unrealistic for me to buy. I remember being in those shoes, so I still create stuff on this channel with that kind of person in mind that that really is budget-minded, who's trying to look for the best bang for their buck in equipment, especially camera gear. So I try to do my best to talk about equipment that is either cheap to begin with or is cheap on the used market. Like a lot of the Fujifilm gear, the used prices are really accessible to a lot of people, and it's fantastic. That's one of the things I like about it, the value that you're getting for the money that you're spending, whether that's the new Fujifilm equipment or used Fujifilm equipment. They pack a lot in for the dollar, and that's fantastic. And that's why I like talking more and more about Fujifilm stuff, because I feel like it serves that market of the creator, of the photographer, of the beginning artist who doesn't have a ton of money but wants to get the most from their dollar. Fujifilm really hits that mark really well. On the other hand, Leica is on another end of the spectrum, where Leica is a 150-year-old company. They are known for their optics, and they're known for the rangefinder style analog film cameras. They're known for their stellar glass in their lenses. They're known for craftsmanship. That craftsmanship and that time and attention to detail was reflected in their prices. And then they're known for quality in every aspect, on build quality, image quality, and whatnot. They are pretty much like the top of the line in this world, in this photography world. So describing the two companies like that, where one gives you a ton of value for your money in Fujifilm, and then one that's at the top of the line providing the best craftsmanship, and the highest quality build quality, and with a price that reflects all that, then what do these two companies and brands have in common besides the fact they both sell cameras and lenses? I mean, I could see, if I'm to play devil's advocate, I can see the similarities in the cameras and lenses themselves. People who use Fujifilm are drawn to the throwback to the analog days where you have control over aperture, shutter speed, and ISO with actual physical dials. So having a physical relationship to the camera is something that is really nice. Fujifilm provides that, and obviously Leica provides that because they still sell the M line of cameras that have been around since the 30s or 40s or whatever. So people who want that tactile feel, that connection to the camera, physical connection to the camera, can get that satisfied from both companies. And that's kind of where they meet. But beyond that, I don't think there's a ton of similarities. And that's where some of these comparisons kind of make me scratch my head, because I wonder just who are these comparisons for? Because in my mind, if you can barely justify buying a $1,800 XT5, you're not thinking, or you're not comparing or thinking that, or maybe I'll skip that and just buy an M11, which is whatever, I don't even know how much an M11 is, $9,000 or whatever. Most people don't have the choice to buy one or the other, to buy a Fujifilm or Leica. Most people are in the price range of Fujifilm. There are some people, obviously, people do afford Leicas. Leica sells a lot of cameras, and there are an audience out there to buy Leicas. But my question is, how big is that audience? And are these comparisons and reviews only for that group of people? And I think maybe that's just something interesting that I've been thinking about, is the fact that, are all these videos made for people who can afford Leicas? And if they are, are we losing touch with the vast majority of YouTube viewers that are in this Fujifilm price range, or any other lower end or budget mirrorless camera price range, who look at used Fujifilm gear, or look at used Olympus gear, or even used Nikon gear or whatever? This is the bigger audience, I think. But I'm not sure if it's because maybe Leica is growing its user base by a ton, or maybe because the YouTube algorithm just rewards the word Leica and anything with Leica gear, and that's why these comparisons happen a lot. I mean, it could be also the fact that, even if we can't afford the equipment, it's still fun to watch videos about it. And that could simply be the answer. And there's nothing wrong with that. The fact that, like, even if you can't afford a Ferrari, it's nice to watch videos about guys showing the features and design that Ferraris have. And that could be simply the answer. But I think one thing that just kind of annoys me with some of these videos is we don't need to knock one brand to justify choosing the other brand, especially in this scenario. I think if a lot of people could afford Leicas, they would buy more Leicas. I don't think we need to knock what Fujifilm offers at a third or a fourth of the price to justify paying the Leica prices. Leica gear is worth the money they charge. I'm not here to knock Leica one bit, or any of their cameras. I think at one time I said I would never own a Leica on one of my old videos, but only because I just never projected the possibility that I could justify the price money-wise. But if by some chance this channel grew tremendously and I got sponsorships and all this stuff, and I could justify a Leica, I probably would buy a Leica. But right now, I'm not that market. I love using my Fujifilm gear, and that's another reason why I don't really worry or think about Leica or Leica gear too much, because the Fujifilm stuff I'm using does what I need. Like I said, it provides a lot for the money. You can buy an XT2 like this for $600 to $650, almost mint condition. And this does like everything I needed to do for photography, and it has a lot of features I don't even use, because, like, even if we talk about and this is just my personal preference. I love all the new autofocus features and advancements that have been made over the last few versions of Fujifilm cameras, but I'm still stuck in my single point autofocus mind and my manual focus mind that a lot of times this is more than enough for me focus wise, and obviously everything else on the camera is awesome. And to be able and to think about the fact that you can get something like the X-T2 for $600 or so is pretty mind-blowing when you think about the quality of equipment that you're getting for that price. And I think a lot of people that watch my channel are in that same mindset. So to talk about a camera that's $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, whether that's from the Q2 all the way up to the M11, anything in that range, comparing those to whether it's the X100V or comparing it to the X-T5 or X-T4 or whatever you're comparing it to on the Fujifilm side, I just always question what's the entire purpose of that. For some people, they want that comparison. I get it, but I just wonder how big of a crowd that is. And I guess one of my biggest things for this video is to ask what your guys' thoughts are on these comparison videos of Leica versus Fujifilm, whether it's Leica Q2 versus a Leica one, whether it's a video that compares the Leica Q2 versus the Fujifilm X100V, or whether it's just a general comparison, Leica versus Fujifilm. Do you guys find these comparisons useful? Or is it just one of those things where, like I said, we just like to watch videos about Leica gear even if we can't afford them? That's a legit answer. There are Leica videos I watch for that same reason. But it's the comparison videos that just really made me start thinking about, are there people out there that really are deciding between the Q2 and the X100V? Because the price difference is just so huge to me. And maybe there is. Maybe I'm the one out of the loop on that, and there's a lot, and that market for the Q2 is much bigger than I think. But here's two general points I want to make at the end of this video to remind the budget-minded photographer who either owns a budget Fujifilm camera or is in the market to buy one. First of all, used Fujifilm gear is fantastic, minus the X100V, which the used prices are ridiculous right now. I do not recommend buying a used 100V for a price higher than retail. But besides that one, used Fujifilm gear, even now, even though all of it has elevated a little bit, it's still all really, really good value. And like I said, the X-T2 is still one of the best values currently. Although the prices have risen, there's been a handful of Fujifilm cameras that have landed between $500 and $800 on the used market. So in that price range, you have a few choices there. But my point to the Fujifilm users, the budget users, embrace these budget cameras. They provide a lot for the money. You can get a amazing image quality. You can get a tactile physical manual experience with these cameras, just like similar to the way you would on a film camera. So embrace that, and just know that there are a lot of users out there like you, like me, that live in this world and look at the Leica world as something kind of just out of reach, and that's reality for a lot of people. And then the other message is to some YouTubers and some photographers who have reached that point where they are Leica users now, or maybe they've always been Leica users. I guess just keep in mind that there are a lot of maybe really, really talented photographers that don't or won't have access to the gear that cost as high as the Leica gear does. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. There's not a ton of this. I don't have a nice way to really wrap this all up. This is me thinking about this comparison, Leica versus Fujifilm. Are these beneficial for a lot of people? Clearly, they're beneficial to some. Or is it beneficial to you? I want to ask that specifically to you. Are these comparisons beneficial to you? Or is the benefit just enjoying video about gear in general, whether you're seriously debating purchasing a Leica versus a Fujifilm camera? So that's it, guys. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate every one of you. As always, I will talk to you soon.